Yeah, I've had fucking podcasts that I've recorded, and then they've just disappeared.
Yeah, man, I remember.
And then I've recorded on too, and just been like, thank the fucking
so much
Lord.
pure gold on those. You can't lose it.
Well, that's the sad truth. On my old phone, I had all the fucking topics, and I had the introduction.
Yeah,
I had the introduction. I had the first half of Chico Lotus, and so yeah, that's lost forever, which is a shame. Although that phone was switching on. I gave it to you because you also fucked your phone. You wee rat.
Which podcast is this?
This is there was one. Man, it was
One
one
in
I
India.
recorded. No, it was one I recorded actually back home. Yeah, the one I recorded in India was gone. All my topics.
That was
the one
like
with
shit though, anyway.
yeah, that
But
one.
yeah,
man.
regardless, you still
It wasn't shit. It was just
Apparently, the
difficult.
audio was bad.
Huh?
Apparently, the audio was bad.
I remember.
That was the issue.
I remember it wasn't that bad.
Not in terms of content.
Yeah, of course I understand what you mean.
How dare you?
Okay. I remember you could still hear them, the other persons, but it wasn't clear, of course.
The saddest thing about it though was I had when Black Dog and I, one cat, we had a fucking we had a good laugh, and we had it on the podcast.
That was a really good laugh.
We had an intro. We recorded an impromptu sub episode that we were gonna insert in and react to.
Oh, yes.
We were fucking on cat as well at that time, yeah.
But fucking sadly,
just recreate it, man.
Someone with
you can't read. That's the fucking beauty of these podcasts. Your first question was, these are fucking what you say? These are gold laden fucking podcasts. Something of that sort. You said.
Yeah,
I know it was. Yeah, but like.
I know. Yeah, no, I'm taking this. But yeah.
I know you are. Fuck you.
Yeah, you'll never recreate a moment like that.
You can't.
Whatever you might have chatted.
You can never really recreate any.
No, it has to be genuine, of course.
Candid.
Funny you say the word under the influence. In Chandrasekhar, there's a moment in the solo where you pause just for the right time, and I play a little fill. And I was talking to Black Dog about it in India for the first time. We probably spoke about it after hearing it.
Yeah.
You know, after listening to it for a month.
Yeah, I remember that.
Telling you about this bit, and that little bit would not have happened if it wasn't for the fact that it was a live recording, because it's all just on the fly.
Yeah, I genuinely couldn't imagine it. Like that day, that recording that couldn't be recreated live. I don't think we'll ever play that well live. I think recording is sort of the peak.
I don't.
In some senses. I think it's because we've been once you've been playing the same songs for a week, it's like you get so into it. It's like you know what everyone's doing.
Know the intricacies.
Just for clarification, there's a week that we recorded DP, and the week was just every day you'd either go to the studio for somewhere between 4 and the longest we were there for was 8 hours, right? We had an 8-hour session.
8-hour jam.
8-hour jam.
Actually?
Yeah, the ran is high.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
How?
So then we practiced this shit like fuck and recorded the demos, and then when you sit down in the studio, and everything's just tight as fuck. I definitely agree. In the moment, yes. I think in the moment is what was created in that moment is it was great, but we could definitely do better. We just need to practice more. Could you imagine playing at fucking Wembley or some shit? The fucking performance.
You keep
using
these words better and worse for music for one track. And I disagree with that concept.
How I feel about the performance can be quantified as a better or worse.
Okay.
But all the words, yeah.
Sure.
Well, I think when you say we're say we're playing Wembley, when you play in Wembley, there's so much pressure. Like, when you play in the studio, you're so free because you're like, I can do another take. So I think it's hard to recreate that sort of feeling when.
Lighter.
Is this
you having a podcast thing? That's mine.
Oh, sorry, man. I picked that up from your room. I thought that was mine. Because I have a similar light.
Are you going to use your birthday present?
It takes 40 minutes to kick in.
Is it Viagra?
Fucking,
I don't know. It's either Viagra or...
Fucking foreplay for 45 minutes, man.
The one that gets you hard. Or the one that keeps you hard, I don't know.
Viagra only keeps you hard. It doesn't get you hard. I think there's one that gets
Nah,
you.
it gets you. Nah, I get.
It gets you hard, man.
It retains a boner.
Does it?
I don't know that from personal experience, but I'm just saying.
I think if you can't get a boner, you take it. Obviously, by taking it, you retain it, but it also gets you the boner in the first place. What I was referring to, that birthday present, I went into a pub and picked out some nice 2 tablets of Mendurance, sexual health supplement. Now, you've all seen in the fucking cubicles in the fucking pub all the condoms and like cock rings and shit on the wall.
Everyone knows the Mendurance though.
No, well, the point is, you've all seen those little fucking, you know, things that you put £3 in and get a condom, and and then you see the pills as well, and you're like, okay, condom I get, a pill, this is like chemical. I'm trusting the owner to, like, you know, use a certain amount of chemicals to fucking fuck with me in this one way that's going to be good in this context, i.e. make me fucking last longer. So the point is,
you've been to a pharmacist, Dan. You trust in them to get the drugs that solve you.
They're in white coats and shit. They're not a fucking greasy fucking
like my
box with like chewing gum and like a big box where some people have been scraping coins like trying to fucking put them in, shit like that.
That's true. You think they're quite far apart, but fucking robots are genuinely replacing pharmacists.
I don't have any over here.
It's like, you know how a pharmacist has to dispense his drugs into, say, like a pack which has all the days of the week.
Oh yeah.
It's like for someone to unpack them and take all those drugs. That can be done by robots. And it is being done, but it's the fact that you can't have like a human to check it. What the fuck is going on out there?
The motherfuckers are shouting.
They're doing it on purpose.
Yeah. So maybe soon your pharmacist will just be a men's store.
Your what?
Your pharmacist will just be a men's store.
And I completely zoned out because I was looking for a lighter. So go again. Go on. Yeah, go back in time.
Okay, we've gone back in time.
Let's go back in time.
You can get your drug from the toilet, right?
Toilet.
Very soon, pharmacists are going to be packing your drugs into your package.
My package.
Robots are going to do that, sorry. So if you go to a pharmacist...
You need to be more coherent.
Yeah, if you're going to a pharmacist, right, they pack your drugs.
Yeah.
But soon a robot will do that for you.
Sure, the pharmacist doesn't pack my drugs. The fucking...
Yes, they do.
Manufacturers do.
I've worked in a pharmacy, like, briefly.
Sure, but...
And I dispense it. Sure. I'm essentially dispensing it. What I'm saying is the pharmacy will become no different to a men's store. So there's condoms in the store. Oh, and I can get some fucking like methadone for my heroin addiction.
Yeah,
it's like it's all done by robots. I don't
completely get what you're saying because
they are generally dispensing. Do you know what that is? So you dispense the drugs for the patient to maybe have like in different packages, whatever it may be. But soon a robot will do that because they do already.
Let me get this straight. So the medication that you have in the form of tablets, they're not packaged into something.
Yeah.
They are like Orbit is.
They're just like a box of sweets in which you put into a plastic bag.
Is it like that? Is that what you're saying for a pharmacist work? Because back home, if I go to a pharmacist, and
I'll be very specific. So say I'm an old guy.
Okay.
I don't know what drugs I need to take.
Okay.
So you pack it into something called like a blister package.
Okay.
So I've done this. You take different drugs, and say on Monday, Mr. I have like fucking back pain, has to take his painkillers. Oh, and he has to take like some aspirin, whatever it might be. You put it all into one package. So that is what a dispenser will do.
Right.
So I think I need to be more specific with my question. In what form do you have those tablets when you pack them up? Do you have them in just forms of tablets? Not packaged up, but in like a big box or like something.
Yeah, it's in a
like
box. So it's in a box from the factory, of course.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So
you pop those out of their package and put it into a bigger little cell.
Yes,
and each cell is a day of the week.
Sure. See, it's weird for me because, I mean, I'm pretty sure that this happens back home as well. But like, in pharmacies, if you go and ask for medicine, right, you'll get it like in the form of like you get your Orbit, you know, the chewing gum.
Yeah.
So you'd get tablets in that form, like a strip of tablets, which happens over here as well. But are these pharmacies which are like for hospitals or like?
No, it's just
general pharmacies.
It depends on what the patient. So, like, it really depends on what the patient is. Because going to a pharmacy can vary from, like, you might have a constant prescription where you're assigned each day to take whatever. It's essentially just to put it in like I don't know how else to describe it.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I get your point. You don't need fucking.
Yeah, man. So
I don't know.
I'll explain what I was saying earlier. So you said, but robots are gonna put my tablets into my boxes instead of humans. So the thing is, I know that I'm going to a pharmacy and the robot, either the human or the robot, is there giving me.
True.
I am asking for these chemicals. I have the chemicals in my hand and I have no way of fucking determining if it's the chemicals or not. So I'm just taking this, assuming it's gonna be the right thing.
Yeah.
And in the setting of a pharmacy, that's fucking no problem. But if I'm going to like a CD box in a pub and I'm gonna buy these tablets in which I bought called Mendurance, you know, that's when I'm like, I could take this and I could just be fucked up, and I'm gonna find it a lot harder to fucking just like get a sue off a CD machine, you know, that's probably been around for a long time. Although to be fair,
you might just get like an E by accident.
What is it?
It's your boy Adam Neely.
Your boy Adam Neely, yeah. So have you tried your pills yet? We just had a discussion about them, so.
I mean, I don't know what to put in the pills, but my jaw's pretty erect.
So you did get an E.
Yeah,
And
Mendurance. We can decide if Mendurance meant endurance or we didn't know if it treated premature ejaculation or erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
It's actually ambiguous. It's like
Well,
they put so many like subtle sexual innuendos. It doesn't actually describe what it does. Just kind of
It's just like a testosterone blocker.
but endurance suggests that it makes you go for a while. So.
So it doesn't give you a boner then. You must have a
we
boner.
don't know.
Yeah, come on. I think
Have you tried it? No.
It takes 5 minutes to kick in. I'm not that patient.
should have taken it earlier today, boo.
Yeah.
Hey, I wasn't guaranteed sex. I'm just gonna have a wank.
We should put it in one. We should put it in like half the glasses of wine, dissolve it in,
Yeah.
and just you randomly distribute a drink.
Fucking Christ blood.
Yeah.
Gives you a boner.
Now that's how you win at fucking dick chicken. Chicken dick? Dick chicken. Chicken dick.
Dick chicken.
Is it dick chicken? Okay, fair.
Dick chicken.
That's how you win. You spike the opponent's drink with Viagra, so their dick gets rock hard
Straight away then.
instantly.
Dick chicken.
For those of you who haven't played a nice, tasteful game of dick chicken, you just hang around with your mates, have a few bevs, a few beers with the lads, then you get naked as shit, and whoever gets hard first loses.
Yeah.
But it's not just hard, just any wiggle of your dick,
Any flinch.
you
So
lose.
you gotta have slow motion cameras.
So if you lose, you have to suck off your mate or something. Is that what they did at Eton?
Oh my god. Neely's embarrassed now by the number of dicks he's fucking shown on.
You know about Soggy Biscuits? You know about
Have you played it though?
Yeah, I think I've heard the story, but go on.
You're not savage.
The story deserves to be featured on.
Most savage story. This is.
Man, you've actually explained this already on the episode that we all did.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
What the fuck was it?
It's,
Did you, man?
Yes,
Yeah.
man.
Sure.
Yes,
I
definitely.
heard that
this
podcast.
is really horrible. But
Go on,
they
though, go on.
suspected someone was gay, and so
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
got naked
Okay.
and ran into his room and grinded on him.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Get deja vu.
Yeah.
That's grimy.
Later. That's
Poor boy.
over now. Then.
See ya, Neely.
It's like all Etonians are just so straight. They've just been bullied into being like lads. They have to
Yeah.
prove how straight they are
Yeah.
by beating on gays.
Yeah. A tough few years for some, and a fucking years of power for others. Perhaps.
So what's wrong with robots giving you your medicines?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like.
See, in my eyes, it doesn't matter if it's a fucking man, fucking animal, or a robot, because it's the fucking organization who gives them the license that I'm more concerned with.
Yeah, but people make mistakes. It's more likely that a person will
Yeah.
make a mistake than
Sure.
a robot potentially.
But that's-
if we get to that point.
See, that's mistakes must be assumed in everything. You
Yeah.
can't do, you can't not do something because there will be mistakes. So
But you want to minimize.
mistakes are inevitable.
So you're saying there's no difference But what if the human makes more mistakes than a robot? Therefore, the robot, you would go for the robot, of course. Because then you won't be given the wrong pills and die or something.
In terms of making mistakes, I mean, I didn't consider that, and you are right in terms of course, that the robot will be more accurate in giving you your pills.
That's why they're not really implemented, because we haven't yet got the confidence that they are right.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
the future, isn't it?
Who do you hold accountable? Yeah, it definitely is the future of a lot of things in that kind of field.
Yeah, like labor, like pure labor, no mental work. It's all gonna be.
Well, it's just who would be to blame if a robot killed someone?
Company.
The person who made it.
Yeah.
It's a bit of code.
Man, I don't know.
You're gonna fire the guy who made a bit of code.
Of course, because not the guy who made the code. This goes. I mean, there's tons of regulations, of course, that go into that, which set standards as to these many tests have to be passed, and these many steps must be taken before you ensure that this is safe from hazards, and you put it on the market. But if it fucks up, then it's your product, so you blame them, right? It's like making dodgy aircrafts.
That's good, man.
I'm saying.
True, but yeah, fair.
I don't think you can use that. So fuck it.
It depends on how you hold them. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the mic. You have to, like, what else can you do? You can't hold a robot accountable.
Sure. That's what I mean. That's why I think it's hard to implement, because the issue potentially with the law.
Hard to implement right now.
I think another factor in that is that people, when they're gonna do shit, want to talk to human beings.
Yeah.
So you gave the example of like an old man, who has Mr. Back Pain. Like, is Mr. Back Pain gonna want to fucking deal with a machine? Yeah. But then again, actually, to be quite fair, so our age now, and we are like totally fine with using phones and computers. So in 100 years' time, everyone will have been brought up with a phone or computer, like, being such a big part of their life.
Yeah, it's actually fucking fucks with my mind, man. That the idea that one may think. I used to think that how different our kids are going to be raised in comparison to us. But when I think of kids who are being raised right now, and how differently they are being raised than I was, it's mad. Like, the difference that society goes through in like just one generation and less than that, it's just mad. It's just incredible. Like, I know kids who are like 3 to 4 years old who can open iPhones.
Yeah.
Can't speak. They can't speak yet, but they can.
I generally think the internet is so unhealthy. Like, I was born to a point where I had like the internet on a computer, and like even that was a lot, since I had a computer a lot. But like, to have a phone, to just have it like every second of the day you have access to whatever you want.
I was watching.
And it's totally unhealthy for a child.
It's just
so suggestible.
The two things come to my mind. One, I'm reminded of Cap. Now, Cap doesn't need a different alias because, well, Cap is an alias. So, Cap, this guy.
His real name is the Cap.
The Cap.
God damn it.
The Cap. Cap is this guy who is
a great man.
Who is in our first year.
I remember.
That's 3 years back.
He did all first year just smoking weed, and then 40 minutes into his 3-hour maths exam, he fucking gets up and leaves.
30 minutes.
40 minutes.
Oh, that's
only because you can't leave after the first time.
Oh my god.
And what did he do when he probably went home and smoked a joint straight away?
No wonder he's a little bit gone.
I think I remember him saying something to me like that. Oh man, I just come back from my exam and this book.
How'd it go?
Oh, that's kind of sad.
40 fucking.
To be honest.
Nah, he's like, it's just. Whenever I describe Cap, I say that there was a point when, no matter what the shape of the clock was, I would see him outside. No matter what, like, choose any fucking permutations or combinations. Like,
do you think he even sleeps? Probably not.
Man,
just out there every hour.
I knew that one day he smoked like 3 grams of weed. Or like 3 to 2 grams of weed. Like, one joint was 1 gram of weed.
Fuck.
And then he had like 3 joints of such such quantity of weed. But the reason I bring him up, and who else was I bringing up?
Man, can I tell you one more Cap story?
Go on.
One thing about Cap that actually, to give Cap some I don't know, support, I guess, and it's actually you giving him support, because I was probably just laughing at Cap one day as just a story,
Okay.
and you said, like, bear in mind, for an international student who doesn't speak English as their first language, if they don't have good English, they can fall behind fucking quickly. Because if they haven't gotten a grasp with it by, imagine, like, week 5, and then it's like you have to even attempt to speak to work that requires English is going to be a struggle. And it would be fucking. I can definitely imagine that fucking with someone. I think Cap. If he's ever listening, I feel bad. But anyway,
I think it's more fortunate with physics, where it's all just symbols for a lot of understanding. But
I disagree. I disagree in the sense that it's not purely academic at all times. I mean, it's so in order to gain that knowledge, you must pursue it, right? And in order to pursue it, you must understand it and be at comfort with the pursuit of it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to a lecture room where, like, there's a fucking guy, a lecturer who's not, well, if he's a fucking scientist, I'm gonna go on and make the assumption that he's not gonna be a perfectly, social and the best lecturer, and on the other hand, you'll have these people who speak English, but you don't. Well, this being the main factor here, is that there are people who speak a different language to you, and if you don't have a decent enough grasp of it, you can very easily fall into this fucking circle where you're unsure about something, and because are unsure about something, you make fun of yourself, and unknowingly. You get what I'm getting at? So,
sure, I think.
So, it's like, consider mispronunciation of words, right?
Mm-hmm.
And say a French person or a Spanish person says something a certain manner, and he doesn't realize it, but the other person, the people around him may find that funny, and that may be okay with him, but it just falls into this. I'm losing my train of thought, but I think what I'm trying to say is that you straight away are alienated in some manner.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Fair.
Yeah.
Socially, definitely, I would definitely agree that not speaking the language of the city you're living in. I think what I said was mainly related to, like, the content of things such as, like, science and physics. Even if it comes down to maths, it's like an understanding of logic.
Yeah. For example, the exam.
Because like learning a lot of go on.
Use, like, in the exam, like the exact exam we did, like, use Stokes' theorem, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna write a few X's and a couple of Y's and a Z, like, and a theta. But I don't need to know actually a word of English. But of course, in the process of gathering this knowledge about physics to do the maths, your lecturer is gonna fucking talk to you in English, and
of course, yeah,
and like and even like, say if you were quite fucked, like, even accessing the resources. One thing you'd have to definitely be is a confident person, I feel. Because you said you can start to, like, ridicule yourself by mispronunciation of words.
Yeah, I think that's what I was getting at.
But a person who had the confidence to be like, oh, how can I say this properly?
Yeah, some people just don't. So I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but some people, it's just not natural to someone, man, to act in a cool manner of dealing with mispronouncing a certain word. So some people, if they're not good at that language in the first place, might actually fall into, like, do some shit, make a gesture or some shit which goes like, fuck, sorry, I'm such an idiot, or like, it's out of your comfort zone is my point.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Yes, man.
Like, so this friend of mine, this French friend of mine, what shall we call her? La Belle.
Okay.
She fucking so in one of her essays she got the feedback, in one of her essays she got the feedback that her English is poor, and she got really pissed about it. Now I'm not saying that her English was definitely poor in the essay because I've not read it. Okay, I've no idea if it actually was, but the fact that it came to that point and the fact that she was not ready to buy it already creates difficulties for her. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because
so what creates difficulties for her?
The fact that that was the feedback that she got, that her English is not up to the point.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that her English is not up to the point in terms of university essays, but the to the addendum that she was not ready to accept that her English was bad, and she was like, this feedback was fucking shit.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no progress. Yeah. Exactly. Progress.
She doesn't really accept criticism. Essentially.
I remember one thing you said about her. In like freshers, is it true she was a maple wanker? Yeah. So, like at first, like the first prees of freshers and shit, when she was greeting people, she would like go for the 2 kisses, which is of course customary, and then she quickly realized. Well, these are your words, retold by me, but she quickly realized that like people were like, "What the fuck," and hence stopped doing it. So.
Stop doing what? Sorry.
Stopped kissing people.
Oh right. Okay. Fair. Oh lol.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, French.
Yeah. I get you.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah, that's I guess what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's like it's just a vicious circle that you can find yourself in if you're not ready to improve or accept that there are mistakes that you're making, because then you keep making them, and then it harms you. Then it's not like neutral anymore. It's not like there's no positive outcome, but there's a negative outcome. So but like, what was the original point?
So I was gonna say, do you remember why you mentioned Cap in the first place?
So I was gonna talk about Cap, and
bringing it back.
Yes, let's bring this back. I was talking about Cap, and I was gonna talk about Dave Goggins, this athlete, this British athlete who was on Joe Rogan's podcast. I was watching that podcast. It's just what was the conversation we were having before this? It was before Cap.
That's a challenge.
Let's see if anyone.
I'd have to roll back the film for that one.
Man, actually,
I think we can trace it back.
I actually consider that.
See, I was talking about. I was going to bring
up medicine for a while. What came after that?
Something about the mind. I think you were talking about. Because I remember I was going to bring up the Dave Goggins thing because
I don't even. Who the fuck's Dave Goggins? What?
Exactly. So I was going to bring up him and Cap for some reason.
Well, we were just talking about Cap because we talking.
No, because I was going to say something, and then I said Cap, and that was the content of what I was going to say. But then someone was like, "Oh yeah, man, Cap," and then
Oh yeah, okay, fine.
We digressed.
I might edit that out.
That's it. I don't know, man. I was gonna bring up Dave Goggins because it was something to do with.
Can I just bring him up anyway?
The strength of because I'm still trying to trace back.
Well, we were talking about the Cap being of spastic, essentially.
No, you literally were like, so Cap, and this other guy, and then you said Cap doesn't need a fucking alias.
Yeah, so because I was gonna talk about him and another person, but like I was bringing him up. I was gonna say Cap, who doesn't need an alias, and this fucking Dave Goggins person and I was gonna bring something up
But Cap's story was too captivating.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Where's the bell? Get your splash out. Like a ding 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 for that.
Right at the top, we were talking about Pipe Dream and the EP.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got onto the cap.
So
Yeah.
right. So we were talking about accuracy.
But who is Dave Goggins?
And we were then talking. And we were then.
Who is Dave Goggins?
Fuck you. And you were then talking about who's accountable.
Yeah.
And then we were like,
sure.
obviously the company is accountable. You can't hold the machine accountable.
And the company is Dave Goggins.
No, fuck you. And then.
Yeah, true. I don't know.
I
don't know what we're looking for.
Fuck this. I know. I'm looking for something and I'm forcing you to look for it. So I guess that's wrong. You don't necessarily need to edit this out, man. Let's let the people listen.
Yeah,
listen to three absolutely big.
This is raw, uncut.
Fucking
just degenerates.
Alright. Let me set the scene for you. This is the 14th. Well, it's right now it's the 15th of December. But today, 4 p.m. was the deadline for our lab projects. We handed it in, and just to give you an idea of what it's been like the past couple of nights.
Oh man!
So these are the names of the files that I've saved on my computer. Kasparov, 3314. So that was a paper made at midnight on the 14th. Then the next one is saved at 6:20 in the morning. The one on the next day is 10:15, and then the next one is 6:50. So
hey, this is.
I think I sent you some.
Oh yeah, those are different days, but fuck it. That's just been my life the last couple of nights. You do whatever the fuck you had to do in the day, whether it's labs or some shit. Come home, start work like 10, and just work. Basically, just stare at your screen for the next 8 hours.
Yeah, if you don't look at the screen, you can't get tired.
Yeah, I guess.
It literally.
Yeah, man.
You just stay up.
Had a couple of joints in action for the majority of it. I actually think.
How? Oh my god.
Man, I think I've written my whole lab report high. I actually think I have. A few sentences here and there, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
but it's just at night. I just am like, man, just get so horny, which is great.
The study club.
I'm just writing, guys. Fucking Tommy. Some Bliat is we were just talking about the amount of weed that we smoke and the amount of work that we do. Subsequently or whatever. I said like my life right now is a weed work bender. every second that like I'm not
my waking self experiences.
I want to get a shirt with
is baked and is working.
I really want to make a shirt with eat, weed, work, repeat.
Yeah.
Yes, man.
It
that's
should be.
something to live by.
It should be. Eat should come after weed, shouldn't it?
Yeah. Huh? You haven't bothered with sleep.
You know, eat, sleep, brave, repeat.
Well, I know eat, sleep, blank, repeat. Yes. Eat, sleep, X, repeat. Where X is.
Well, this is eat, weed, sleep, repeat. No, eat, weed, work. Eat, weed, work, repeat.
Eat, weed, work, repeat.
Don't eat weed. You eat, then you work.
Yeah.
You don't weed your work, because you.
Black Dog was with me for a lot of it, and we would always like cook some meal, of some description.
Been fun.
We made some big fucking rice and got fucked some cheese in that way at some point.
That was really good stuff, man.
Man, you should take pictures of those.
Yeah, man, we should.
You're just gonna hear this in like 10 years' time, like.
Oh,
we had pitters that day, and pitter and rice.
I wish, man.
Oh, that sounds great.
Man, I actually can't wait to be myself in 10 years listening back to this. I'm gonna actually, like, mind is just gonna warp back in time, and I'll just picture this moment.
Now you said it.
Snap back to reality.
And now it's on record.
And then I'll hear that, and it'll be like a North trip, but I can actually replay it and, like, experience it. You know what I mean?
Do you want to script, like, a thing?
No, I don't give a fuck about your script.
Do you want to script a conversation with you in the future? You can script a conversation. You read half of it now, and in like 20 years' time, when you eventually listen to this back, you'll finish the second half of the recording,
Oh man!
and you can splice them together.
Now you're talking.
Fuck.
Now you're talking. Do one every 10 years.
Talks to his fucking future self.
Man, fucking Black Dog and I were having such a wank one night. So, by the way, the biggest word in my lexicon at the minute is wank. You're just like, I'm gonna, like,
Oh my god!
Wank. It's just like, I'm gonna wank. Like, CS is like a wank. It's just like, it's like, getting like one tap or winning a battle royale is like a wank. It's like, it's just something good. Doing some work, like, man, I'm wanking so hard right now.
Yeah, well, I'm wanking over my work.
Yeah, it's like whenever I first sent myself the fucking PDF, when I first sent myself the PDF of my lab report, and I see my lab report on my phone,
You're
which is the
wanking
context.
over it.
Yeah, I was
Are you
wanking.
gushing?
Just wanking.
Gushing.
Jesus! You didn't have to say it. When you say it, it's
Um,
weird, okay? You can't say
Hey,
I just...
hey, I'm just fucking, completing a sentence there. Oh, that's all I'm doing. You thought of it.
You probably
So,
were,
yeah.
to be fair.
I was
If
thinking.
you're reading about Wigner Transforms, you probably just implode, man.
Yeah, man.
To be fair, the amount of theory that Dan had was fucking.
I haven't read it. I'm
Well,
scared
not
to.
Dan, fucking.
I'm really interested to see what you guys think.
Yeah.
But Tommy's read it as well. Yeah, Bliat's read it.
Isn't it actually okay? Whatever, go Bliat.
Players.
But then when you
Too
get
generic. If I say nah,
when you get him on the show, give him a better name.
yeah,
Right now, it's just some guy.
I'll call him Wigner.
Yeah. What?
Wigner.
Wigner.
I'll name it after him. I'll call if what I've written is original, then I'll call it the Bliat.
What?
The Bliat theorem.
Yeah,
Just name it after the word Bliat. Or on the spectrum.
I would love to talk about topology with Bliat.
Oh man, yeah. He won't be on the podcast this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Why not?
He just texted. Doesn't matter. It's plenty of time. And he was talking to me about topology.
Yeah.
Man, just to give you a taste of how fucking cool topology is. It's like
Yeah.
it's like so how do you define a circle? Okay. So one way to define a circle is you get a point and then you look around you and then you draw a line of equal distance at like every point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just going to be a circle.
Yeah.
And in 3 dimensions is a sphere, like whatever. So no matter what dimension the fucking space you're using is, this rule is going to apply for whatever sphere is. So another way you can also describe a sphere is like a sphere. Describing a circle is by looking at sets and like sets of numbers, and like you can find out if a set corresponds to a circle in some weird like topological space.
Sure. A set of what?
Like set of numbers, or a set like
what
a
do the
set.
numbers mean?
Man, I don't really know, but the point is you can define a circle using a set, and it doesn't actually require the concept of distance, because like which is quite fucked. For instance, say it's, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna chat any shit because Bliat's gonna come on and he's gonna fucking wreck me. But like basically, if you want to compute like a circle in like 8-dimensional space, that's gonna be way hard. You're gonna have to do a fucking lot of calculations. But you could say, but if you can just do it in this single space, then you can prove it way easier.
So what's the application of topology?
It just like
what's the application?
It's kind of like
8-dimensional spheres, mate.
So
hey,
I'm
just layman.
I heard
I have no idea.
I seen a nice video there was a thing like some woman like showed the most efficient way to pack spheres in 8 dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like a great fucking like a big news for that community.
Okay.
And so one of the applications he said this is going to be used in is, so like say you have like 3 data points. Say you have 2 data points, you can plot them on a graph. Okay. If you have 3 data points, you can plot them on a 3-dimensional graph. So if you have 8 data points, Right, so all you need is 8 numbers. So these 8 numbers could be like the fucking prices of the 8 items in your shop, or like, you know, 8 football players and how many goals they've scored. You can now describe. You can now that would have to be described in 8 dimensionals, like space. Say if you want to draw on a graph, and
yeah.
And so what sphere packing is useful for is this, you can measure errors with it.
Measure what?
Like you can talk about like errors, because think of or like resolution. It's something like
it's just
you have to have
thing.
like
it's just a computational thing.
Yeah.
Like the computer utilizes 8 dimensions of like data in order to do something.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, because there's like 8 variables.
Yeah.
Because if you think
I've experienced that.
So like
yeah.
To go shout out to Yuli, if you're gonna make a complex function, it's gonna have 4 dimensions. So you're gonna like just because it has 4 variables.
I'm essentially doing that just with like
well, not really,
I have 2 dimensions of time. Well, I'm doing 3 dimensions. Okay. Well, I'm doing 2 dimensions of space and then 1 dimension of time in like one big array. So that's essentially.
Is this in your lab project?
Yeah. So it's essentially a 3-dimensional array.
Yeah.
But obviously you can just keep going. And say I was doing cubes at different times, then I'd have a cube which is 3 dimensions, add 1 dimension, and I have a 4-dimensional piece of data. It's like, but when you go further, I'm curious how many fucking variables you have. Man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But you can just apply the principles of 2-dimensional like geometry.
So it's like hard for me to understand, because he said a computer uses 8 dimensions of data.
I'm speculating what he was describing. I'm not saying that, but it's possible. I think that's the idea.
So
it's
man,
like,
say you have like
8
say you have a bunch of toys, okay, and you've like this number of toys, and each toy can have a number of wheels, and each toy could also have like a number of fucking like flashing lights, and each toy could have like a number of equality. Okay, so if you want to plot if you want to draw a graph that has all the axes that you've just said, like number of lights, fucking number of wheels, and you wanted to plot that in one graph, you'd need 8 dimensions because there's 8 variables.
Sure. Yeah.
So
it could be anything ridiculous like that.
It doesn't actually exist in 8-dimensional space doesn't exist. Like we don't visit the 8th dimension, but we just describe it mathematically. And like on that video with the 8-dimensional spheres, there was something really nice he demonstrated, where it's like it was you going through a 2D plane of this 8-dimensional sphere. It's like a 2-dimensional slice. And so if you're going through a 2-dimensional slice of like a cube, then it's going to be a square. If you go, if you do that with a cone, it's going to be like a small circle, and then it's going to get bigger. So you can take a 2-dimensional slice of a 3-dimensional object. So you can also do that with a 4-dimensional object. You just have more space to explore, and more directions you can travel in.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're traveling in a new, in a new dimension. But like,
it's just
exactly.
It's just all of this is fucking so incredible to hear for me. Like, I would guess anyone, but like as scientists, how would you answer a question if you're asked, why does it matter that we invest money into research into dimensions? So why is it important? So I'm asking this question. I obviously understand the reasons, but I want to hear your side of it.
This is just one like part of maths.
Yeah. There's something called math theory. It's essentially people understanding maths for the sake of it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the tools we learn in mathematics actually apply, because a lot of the things we do use currently are derived from like a mathematical notation. I can't really think of any from the top of my head now. But like, what would be something that a mathematician has made? Like something like calculus. Was that made for? That was made for a purpose, was it? Or was it just something that already been there, and then the physicists just utilized it?
Well, yeah, it's the mathematicians that find it, and physicists definitely use it.
But did they find it because the physicist was like, "Oh, we can't solve this moving body problem"?
Nah.
So it was there.
Calculus was like just Newton being like, I want to find the area of a circle, the area of a circle, by dividing this circle into little radiuses and then adding them up.
Yes, of course.
So it's like Euler's number or Euler's equation. Euler's equation.
E-pi.
Sure. Like this is e to the I pi equals -1. So that's e, which is a number 2.3. Just basically just a number. Wait, it's 2.7. Well,
2.7.
So e to the I pi. I is imaginary number, square root of -1, and pi is something that connects the diameter of the radius to the diameter to the circumference of a circle. So e to the I pi equals -1, a negative integer.
Okay.
So that's true.
Okay.
But it just makes no sense, like straight away. And you can derive it, and you can try to provide an intuition. But the reason why I brought it up was that this was discovered by Euler in 1700s, and it then got a use in quantum mechanics.
That's
exactly.
Would you say that that's like a result, like getting e to the I pi? That's a result of like a fucking system, right?
I mean, like a mathematical. It's a mathematical definition.
It's like a calculator, for example. Like if I fucking press a few buttons on the calculator and press the result key, I'll get a result, right? Sure. The same way is this result that you get e to the I pi is equal to -1, because it's like a equation when you apply a set of rules of maths, you get that result.
Yeah.
So it's a result of maths.
Yeah, but essentially what we're saying is that result is useful, because to bring to what we were talking about is like, what is maths? What's the point of getting these fucking math theorists, number theorists, to figure out e to the I pi? It's like, why do you need that?
Okay.
But as you said, it's like quantum mechanics, whatever. We use imaginary numbers, and that is reliant on something like this theorem, which was developed before we needed them.
Yeah, man.
So it can be useful. You might think like, why are they searching for all these dimensions? You don't know what it might be applicable to.
Yeah.
Such as like imaginary numbers. Even going to negative. If you take it back,
exactly why it's so amazing.
Like going back to
because it's looking forward, maths.
Yeah, there's always new ground to cover.
Yeah, and physics is kind of looking at today. Is it? Is it not? What would you say? How would you?
Physics relies on experiment.
Yeah.
So like mathematics, like the result of the experiment is like instantaneous. So you could say.
Yeah.
Nothing requires experiment, because like you get your answer. Yeah. Like I don't know that's like.
No, I get what you mean.
I don't know. These things that occur in mathematics, like e to the I pi, like they're just so like wonderful and so strange, and they're cool, you can say, in maths. But they kind of manifest themselves in physics in a way that just connects our world to the mathematical world, and like. But the thing is, mathematics is guaranteed to be true because it's self-contained. It's like self-defined.
Yeah.
So like if you can model something using maths, and it's guaranteed to work, because maths is unreasonably efficient at describing things.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that's what I meant earlier when it's like, if someone's doing a maths course, like someone who's foreign. Yeah. They will see a reading mathematics. It's like, it doesn't matter. I think people who studied mathematics know like what the fucking what's it like the upside down A, which means like for all.
Yeah.
It's like someone who did different languages would just know that as meaning the way it does in maths.
Yes, fucking, it's amazing.
It's like
Black Dog, this is the lab report. Fucking, we have just converting from X and P to X and fucking spatial frequency. P is momentum.
Excuse me.
And it's called the Wigner Transform.
Oh, yes.
And I've got this fucking integral. So I'm adding up all the small parts with respect to momentum. E to the I fucking like momentum times the dot product of momentum and spatial frequency. So like I don't know, man.
It's just
the
it's just,
maths,
man.
well, I don't understand it in words. It's probably pretty like mad.
man.
It's just incredible to me that in the same university, in the same language, yet what we study like is taught so differently. First of all, and second of all, is so different in its nature that it has its fucking own fucking language. Basically, like it's like the sentences that you have pure technical words, which makes it a proper word. I'm missing out on that word, which is basically a vocabulary of a
nomenclature.
Not nomenclature. The vocabulary of a particular sort of clique. You know what I mean?
Slang.
Dialect.
Oh.
Clique. It's
colloquialism.
It's like basically doctors have their own sort of.
I don't know.
I guess. Whatever.
Well, if you want to see something like worse than that, just look at our fucking.
I'm all right, thank you.
Look at our complex numbers, our complex variable theory fucking notes.
Yeah, man.
Where it's like there's all these weird symbols which mean like it's like for all numbers. It's like an upside down A. It's like such that is a colon.
Yeah, man.
It's just a short. Instead of writing actual words between equations, you just have symbols. You have like therefore, which is 3 dots.
Wow.
I'm gonna make this the picture of this podcast. So here they are, Black Dog.
Yeah.
We've got upside down A is for all or any. Upside down E or backwards E is well, you can see for yourself, I guess.
I'm so glad you wrote these down. I fucking don't remember them.
Wow.
So you'll just see if
I know belongs though.
Belongs fair. What he says is like in other words. But it's funny, he'll be like, this is what happens in words. Like, well, I'll just read it to you. Here the limit exists as no matter the choice of epsilon, there is a delta that contains it. So that is equal to, for all epsilon greater than 0 exists delta of E and X naught such that for all X naught equal to X naught. Modulus of X minus X naught minus delta. Fucking, you get the idea.
I remember studying that like in sets.
Yeah, I'm not that way.
Is that a set?
Is
that a set?
Yeah. Something belongs to a set.
Yeah. I remember studying, but like not. So our books had like the theory behind why this is called this. I never fucking bothered doing that. I just did the equations, practiced them. Never really tried to understand. I think that's why I sort of fell out of love with maths, because like when I was in grade 10, like when I was 15 years, I got like 91%. And I was like,
maths?
Yes.
Damn.
And I was like,
what the fuck happened, man?
And I was like, I'm gonna be a fucking investment banker, make fuck tons of money, like drown myself in pussy. But like 1 week into my classes, I was like, fucking no, like I did not go to class after that for 2 years. Just
you missed out.
No, I guess I did. I guess you did.
Yeah, imagine you doing physics here as well. That would be nice. That'd be bandit and a half.
You probably never meet each other.
Yeah. Oh
man.
Fucking slap. That's true as fuck. Yeah.
Wow.
Things would be very different.
Maybe because of music. I don't know. That's quite difficult still.
Well,
it won't have the same dynamic.
It's just like the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
It's like a different course.
Black Dog.
Becomes a fucking like a dirty, like nerdy math student. You know, he's
already so dirty.
Dude, I don't actually like using the word nerd. I take all of that back.
Yeah.
I hate calling like physicists nerds. They like pop culture, like Game of Thrones. Or they play games.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do.
I went to a debating competition.
Oh, we're autistic. That's the one.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
No, mathematicians are autistic. Quote of David
So
Evans.
yes.
I went to Durham for this debating competition, and
Wow,
this person's place where I was crashing at. I was crashing in the living room, and they had these cards. So her flat place was some fucking chemistry, chemical engineering students, and they had these cards of elements. And they were playing those cards like bigger element twins or some shit.
Like Magic the Gathering. What do you mean, like elements? Magic the Gathering?
No, like periodic table elements.
Oh,
Periodic table elements in cards.
I think I liked it. Okay, yeah. I thought you were like, these kids playing with their element cards. He playing the fire. Or like some shit.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know. You just sound like some old man who's angry at kids playing with cards. Scott, please carry on.
No, that's about it. Like they had this was the first time I saw a card playing game which was based on periodic table, and I was like, this is mad. That completely blew my mind,
Man,
you're gonna kill me for this, but that's capitalism.
I know, people do what they want. People are excited to get some culture, like with their course. Like memes about physics, like are fucking hilarious.
Yeah, man.
Memes about law are fucking hilarious for you.
Fucking inverting.
Memes about debating,
taking the
man.
inverse of the matrixy.
Yeah.
In my back garden last year. Fucking great. You know when we had like the mattress outside, and just like the physics lads just like. We must invert the mattress. Like who's our lecturer again? Like Igor, yeah. We must invert the mattress.
Yeah, it's good.
For the motherland, and then they just flip the mattress upside down.
yeah.
Because he says, yeah, the mattress.
He said matrix.
Yeah.
He said instead of a matrix, a mattress.
Is that a meme?
So it's like flipping a mattress. Invent mattress. I've never heard that before. That's fucking good one, man. Fuck. I'm gonna enjoy that in 10 years. Yeah.
Fuck. Debating memes, to be fair, that's fucking so funny as well, man. I tagged you in a debating meme. It was just.
I'd never look at fuck one.
But yeah, they're really funny.
Yeah, man. Everyone finds them shit. Funny.
When someone tries to make a point of interest, and you're just like, sit down, motherfucker. That's definitely one. Does that exist?
Fucking Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
What do you say, motherfucker?
Say what again?
So what are you saying? So you're asking for clarification on the question.
What do you mean?
Oh, what do you say? Samuel L. Jackson is saying what you mean, motherfucker.
Yeah, just go like, okay, I don't know what, I don't even understand. I mean, someone stands up for point of information, and Samuel L. Jackson would be.
Yeah, like a meme.
Like what?
You ever seen memes? Have you heard of a meme now?
You just go like, what'd you say, motherfucker? Actually, go into that shepherd speech. Have you seen Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, when he goes like, fucking the Lord was struck down with great vengeance.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to butcher the fucking whole monologue.
Man,
we don't need to hear that.
in RE, back in GCSE, we had every week, every like Monday, every day someone would have to say a prayer at the start of the day, where they'd find a prayer and then deliver it to the class.
Yeah.
And my prayer was that Samuel L. Jackson
Was it?
monologue soliloquy.
Do you remember it?
No, of course not. I had a sheet of paper. Also, fucking last year, me and Igor.
Real actors memorize the lines, Dan. How old are you?
Oh yeah, motherfucker!
Yeah.
I'm gonna wreck you right now, because last year on our fucking lab report, where we fucking were testing out the materials on our fucking optical eavesdropper, and we read the fucking...
Oh yeah, that wasn't... You said you performed... Did you perform that monologue?
I said a prayer. I said it.
said
In the same way that we said...
When did you say a prayer?
You said the prayer, sorry, yeah.
This is in like GCSE RE. Back home. We did say a prayer. Does that surprise you guys?
Yeah, but you had to memorise that. In our situation, what, we just had to like read it into a can.
I didn't get your name. I got yours. Vincent. The concentration. I didn't mean to do that. Please. What does Marcellus Wallace look like? What? What country you from? What? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what? What? English, motherfucker! Do you speak it? Yes. Then you know what I'm saying. Describe what Marcellus Wallace looks like.
That's Samuel L. Jackson's point of information.
Say what again? I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time. He's black. Go on. He's bald. Does he look like a bitch? He looks like a bitch. No! Then why you trying to fuck him like a bitch? Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Right? You tried to fuck him. Myself, I just don't like to be loved by anybody except Mrs. White. You read the Bible, Greg?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, there's this passage I got memorized. Sort of fits the case. Ezekiel 25:17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brother. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
Yeah. That would be Samuel L. Jackson in the debate.
Okay.
Yeah, do not fucking ask him a question. That's
he's such a bad bastard, man.
when you say about it debating, that you don't have a comeback to their question, and you just like fuck and just shoot them.
There's actually
Just get a gun in
lot
case,
of
Johnny.
profanity sometimes in debating, which is amazing.
But like, surely you get points of interest where the person just like freezes up because they're like, I have no answer,
Nah,
and then they just shoot them because they're like, no
it never
defense.
really happens. Like, you shoot them with words.
Do
you
people
shoot
just
them down?
I feel like someone will just like bullshit to try
Man,
and sound like they're talking.
How someone
the same.
strawman me on another point of information.
Yeah,
I asked them a question. I asked them a question about like something to do with robots in warfare being used, and like I asked them a question about war is it's not just like you 24/7. You're doing war all the time. There are covert missions and whatnot, and he just used some fucking straw man as to of war and just did not answer my question. So like that's how you shut people down in point formations when you don't have an answer. You just
you want to look.
You just train yourself so much.
Just seem confident.
Yeah, you just train yourself so much.
I love how
that you become good at straw mans and like these techniques.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. You just learn to bullshit.
Yeah, you just learn to bullshit.
I love that's actually genuinely such a good skill.
My friends in my seminar were like once saying after the seminar to me that fucking always saying something in a seminar, but like it does not seem to be related to the fucking topic, but it makes sense. And I'm like, guys, learn the art of being
as long as it makes sense in the moment. Yeah, as long as it makes sense in the moment. That's when they judge you. They might think the next day, it's like, Johnny was chatting some real shit last night.
No, it's like, that's blackjack. If I'm not prepared for a seminar, like, it's just instinctive, like, I guess, to me. Like, as soon as I see an opening and I know a little bit about, I just go, boom. And then I'm not asked a question after that, so because I've already spoken. So.
Just say loads of long words and you'll confuse them.
Huh?
You're not
So-
confusing them fucking professors, like, you think you're just gonna
Just say like
bullshit.
just try and fit in like hapax legomenon or like lexicon into your sentence,
I would say you can,
and you'll sound like a genius.
because it's a liberal arts university. Well, not liberal arts university, but like it's a liberal university, to say the least. All universities are mostly liberal. So like professors are more likely to be like, yeah, I see your point. Yeah, I see your perspective. Yeah, there's an angle. You see what I mean? They're
Sure,
more likely to entertain what he's saying.
they're less critical in a
they're-
way. Yeah.
They're less critical. They're not fucking excessively critical.
Yeah.
They are critical. I'm not saying that they're not critical. I mean,
One could say
when I
like
say-
polite. Yeah.
yeah, look, I'm not saying that I completely bullshit, right? I know something about what I'm talking, like, about the subject,
Yeah.
but like what I mean by not talking about the topic is like not reading the article, for example, and not saying what the author said, because obviously I've not read the article, but I know something about the topic, so I can add on to that. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, there was a talk about today in a seminar today about it being a bit of a grey area law, international law, from the top to bottom, like in terms of what is legal and what is political.
Mm.
And then that's why I was like answered something on those lines. Even though I prepared for this seminar, but I'm not saying that you should be doing this, but this is one of the ways you act smart, or like you.
So is this also that you don't get asked a question? The key is to point out something
key-
so that you're
look, man.
prepared.
When you're not prepared for a seminar, the key is not to be embarrassed, or like not to be put on the fucking
Spotlight on
on the
something
spot,
you
yeah.
fucking
Not
no
to be put
idea
on
on.
yeah. So the only way you do make sure that happens is by contributing, not by hiding.
Yeah.
If you hide, it will be clear that you're not prepared, and the lecturer is more likely to ask you because he's not heard from you. That happens like in a seminar when the lecturer hasn't heard in a seminar, then he goes like, I haven't heard much from you. What do you think?
That's quite bold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does this go?
Fuck knows. Yeah, man. You were saying about in our debating, there's a bunch of profanities.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with fucking Will Smith, this fucking lecturer, and he fucking said we spoke for about an hour, and he said fuck and fucking. He was basically telling me how like some system just gets too complicated like too quickly.
Yeah.
And he's like, and there's so many fucking equations that you have to solve. And I was like, okay. And I was like, nice. And I was like, I wonder if I'm gonna slip in a fucking like I won't hide it. I noticed also in the fucking there's this like on the PhD
You can't
day.
help yourself. you just do it. I'm surprised he hasn't heard you do it.
Man,
Did you do it?
I don't think so. He said it again as well. But when I was on the just the PhD lunch, I was walking around and I was talking to one of the PhD students.
Yeah.
And he's like really like soft spoken and like like really like kind of like positive. And I was talking to him and I said like I just said like the fucking thing and I was like he's probably walking like I bet his facial expression just changed. So, you know.
What did you say?
I said just like, oh, I couldn't like fix the fucking thing. Just something like
to him.
Yeah. And as I say,
Oh right.
it's like I'm pretty sure his facial.
You sounded
expression
like
changed.
you were just a brute coming in.
Yeah, man. Fucking got it. So yeah, I'm kind of aware of that.
Oh, when you say soft spoken, you mean like a very like
I mean, it's been
polite.
really doing a PhD. I don't know, man. I don't know.
very like PG.
Just a guy, nice guy, like nice guy.
You can be a nice guy, but why does that mean he doesn't like profanity? So he just doesn't like swearing at all.
Oh,
Man,
Smith.
No, man.
Who are you talking about now?
No,
Some
just
guy.
this PhD
Yeah.
dude.
Physician.
Who's this?
He just gets triggered whenever someone says fucking. Because apparently that's offensive.
No, well, I
think
don't
he-
know.
That's what he's saying.
The-
Like, he's uncomfortable around swearing.
Sadly, the most accurate thing you said was it was like he's a big boot. Like, that was, whenever he said that, that was what I was talking about.
Is that actually where I peaked? Oh my god.
That was your peak of like understanding. No, you're probably confused as fuck.
What? Are we even on the same plane right now? Jesus, we talk about 4D. Am I in a different 3D to you?
We should Fourier transform, and I'll go over to you. You're in frequency, and I'm in time. Momentum space over there. He doesn't have a Fourier transform like us. He has got a Wigner transform.
I don't know. Fuck
Who's
all.
Wigners?
I don't know. Fuck all idea.
Fuck me. I'll kill for a Wigner transform.
I was gonna suggest, if you want me to try to explain to you why I use a Wigner transform, I can give it a go. If you guys can't be fucked, then we can.
No, I can't be fucked.
Good luck. Like I can bear. Like,
not give a single fuck.
I am interested.
How about that?
I'm interested.
It can be a 2v1, so if you want to shut him up.
I think it's very boring for people who don't really give a shit.
Look, man.
I'll explain it in terms of that Black Dog will understand. That's the thing. But I clearly don't want to. So
like there are most days I am very up for something like this to fucking hear out you guys, but I don't give a fuck right now.
Well, it seems like we can barely remember what we were speaking about at some point.
Which is the whole point of
So
this. He's not meant to.
So the
whole
term
point
is over. Term is over.
No, I agree, but I kind of
moving from one conversation to another.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like when that is a challenge, trying to understand some like complex maths
that hasn't been a challenge
being described rather than even reading it.
Man, that would be
quite hard.
No, definitely not. I disagree with that.
Fair. I mean, if you can explain it like without a big equations, you probably could. Go on then.
Oh man.
In game. But
go on.
I was just so prepared for you to whip out like some like mad derivation.
Okay. So our cavity, the length changes. Okay? Frequency is equal to time because the length changes at a constant rate. Okay? So you two know what I'm talking about.
What's the length? Length to what? See, that's if you're talking.
That's what I mean.
Then let's go in it.
It's gonna get.
If I'm talking about something, then you better be fucking prepared.
Okay. So we have a cavity where light comes in and it bounces around in a triangular shape. Okay? So the light bounces around in a triangular shape.
Yeah.
The number of wavelength, so the length of the path that the light takes is the path length. Okay? So for resonance to happen, there has to be a whole number of wavelengths in this one path so that they all fit. Okay? It would have to be a whole number.
You know, like on a guitar string,
yeah,
where you have like a standing wave.
Yeah.
You know, the ends are fixed. It's like this, but instead of having a long string, you have a triangle made up of the string.
Mm-hmm. So
there's a triangle of string, but you still at the boundaries you still need. You know how you have the nodes?
Yeah.
You need to fit in a whole number of half wavelengths along it.
Okay.
In a way.
So you said.
So in the same way, you have it in a triangular shape.
Say that sentence again. The last sentence you said.
So we need to fit a whole number of wavelengths inside the cavity.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So whenever that happens, there is resonance.
Okay.
Okay. So this resonance can take different shapes. So instead of being just like a Gaussian beam, which would mean it's brighter in the middle and it just gets less bright as it goes out from the center, just as you expect. Okay. But we start to get these weird high order modes called Hermite Gauss.
Mm-hmm.
They look like this, and there are loads of fucked up shapes. I'll also be including a diagram in the cover. And so we're trying to explain why these shapes appear.
Okay.
And this shape is a polynomial multiplied by the Gaussian. So the Gaussian is just this shape, you know, a normal distribution, and you multiply that by these here.
Sorry, Gaussian is a distribution of the wavelength.
You know the normal. No, Gaussian is the shape
of the intensity
of the wave.
The shape of the beam.
The shape of the beam.
The shape of the beam.
Okay.
So
do you have an example?
It's like if So those images there. The image is in black for the viewer.
No, that's the fucking.
So that's the Gaussian there.
Gaussian beam.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then these higher order shapes, okay? That look really cool.
Okay, so how do you get these shapes?
So these shapes,
And why do you get them?
these shapes occur when resonance is achieved in the cavity.
What is resonance?
Resonance is when there's an integer number of wavelengths in the path length.
So how do we get this resonance?
So
why is there resonance when in the first place we want the whole number of wavelengths in the cavity?
So what you'd have to do is you'd have to get your cavity and change this length here.
Yeah.
So that the length is a whole number of wavelengths.
Okay.
So Jolly, you know when, so say I've got a rope. I'm holding a rope. You're holding a rope.
Okay.
And like, if I send a pulse out.
Yeah.
And then the pulse goes and it comes back, and I send another pulse out at the very same time.
Yeah.
So I have a wave like this.
Yeah.
And also like this, and they add up to make a big peak, right?
Yeah.
But say I sent one out like at a slightly weird time.
Yeah.
Where when I hit it, I had a wave going like that.
Yeah.
And the one coming backwards towards me, I send out here, comes back, he waves like that.
Okay.
So I have like a mountain on top of a trough.
Okay.
That would make 0, wouldn't it?
Okay.
So they would cancel out.
Sure.
So the thing with the whole number of wavelengths is you have this thing called constructive interference.
Mm-hmm.
So I add a wave at the right time, and I have them add up.
Okay.
And make an even bigger wave.
Sure.
And they're resonating.
That was very well explained, first of all.
Does that make sense?
That was very well explained. But then... So,
except there's a lot of... And they do this?
Yes.
The viewers are going to have...
I'm just wiggling with my... Just imagine a wiggle.
It's your responsibility.
Just wiggle my arms.
Get a fucking camera. Your responsibility.
I wish.
So...
You wiggle the leg.
But yeah, so you get the whole number of waves.
So
you get the whole number of waves in the cavity, right?
Yeah.
But then you said that you also get resonance with that.
Yeah.
So why do you get this resonance?
So when a whole number of wavelengths fit inside the path length,
yeah,
that means that it's the same here as the same here.
What is?
The shape.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So whenever, if you make that in a cavity, it's like turning around that. It's like making a loop. So that it's at resonance when the beams look the same on either end. Okay? Okay?
Not again.
Okay. So I have my cavity there, okay?
Yeah.
And then I have a number of wavelengths. Oh fuck my life.
They're meant to be the same size.
Yeah. So this one starts at 0 and then it goes up.
Oops, the viewer can't see this. Sorry, God.
This one starts at 0 and this one starts at 0
So
and goes
meta.
up.
Oh my god.
Okay?
This
And
one
then-
starts from 0.
And goes up. This
Okay.
one is coming up to 0.
Okay.
So that whenever you join these around, they match up, and therefore it,
Sure.
then it will add
Okay.
because it's
Okay.
so.
Sure.
It's just the way the light fits into the cavity.
Sorry. How does resonance come in this?
So that is resonance
Okay.
when that happens.
So when the ends of a wave meet at the same point, you get resonance.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because it's joining along with
When the
itself,
peaks meet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
because you
Got
can
it
think it's
now.
like going around and then meeting itself in the back.
Yeah.
So when it fits.
That's so good. Yeah.
So that's the resonance.
Okay.
And what's the resonance here?
So whenever you're in resonance like that, you see the beams take different shapes.
Yeah.
That is transverse. So we were talking about the shapes like as beams along the way they propagate.
Yeah.
But this is taking like a slice to it.
Yeah.
And seeing what the distribution is. So the normal shape of the light is the Gaussian light, which is this here. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You see that just blob?
Yeah.
Right? Then you also get these weird higher order modes. Okay? So we're asking the question, why do these higher order modes have that shape?
Sure.
So those higher order modes are the Gaussian, which is just your normal distribution multiplied by one of these polynomials, which are just basically random fucking polynomials.
Okay.
Okay, like OH2 is 4x squared minus 2.
Sure.
Like it's just that for some reason. Okay.
Sure.
And those are well defined. So our cavity, to the light traveling around the cavity, if I'm changing the length of the cavity linearly with time, so that time goes past, the length changes.
Sure.
If time passes, that's the equivalent of the frequency changing inside the light.
Directly proportional to the change in time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically inside the cavity, frequency is proportional with time. So because frequency and time are scale the same, it's like they're the same thing. It's like there's no difference between them.
Yeah.
The light in the cavity doesn't know if its frequency is changing or if its time is passing. So that is what we assume to be true in my experiment. That's like something I state, and I provide this kind of hands-wavy explanation, but it's not actually fun. I think there's some issues with it, but I take it and I'm like, okay, let's see what happens here.
Sure.
So the Fourier transform converts between frequency and time.
Yeah.
But in our system, frequency and time are the same thing. So if you're going to change between frequency and time, you've got to end up with the same thing. And those are the eigenvalues, the eigenvectors of the Fourier transform. Okay? So that's why the Fourier transform produces our eigenvectors. What are our eigenvectors? A Gaussian multiplied by a Hermite polynomial.
Yeah.
What are the values though?
The values?
The eigenvalues. What do they determine?
The eigenvalues are like non-geometric. They're actually minus I to the power n. Yeah. So as it goes up, it goes minus 1 minus I negative 1 plus I, and then like rotates around like that for all the Hermite polynomials. So we've just found a way of explaining why the Hermite polynomials appear in our graph, appear in our cavity. So we've got these ones here, the Hermite-Gauss ones.
Yeah.
But we've also got these circular ones, the Laguerre-Gauss modes.
Yeah.
So these.
Oh, bottom right. Oh,
I know, man.
That's cool.
The 3, 4 at the bottom right. So the light will take that shape as it travels around the cavity, which is fucking mad, and you can take a picture of that, So these are made of the Laguerre polynomials, which are just different polynomials.
Sorry, so light takes this shape because of change in frequency?
Because the change in frequency is the same as time. The same as the change in time.
Okay.
It's like a hands-wavy explanation.
Okay.
So
when you change the frequency, but that's what you get when you change the frequency.
Huh?
That's the shape that you get when you change the frequency.
Yeah. Well, that's the shape.
It's like certain frequencies, when you sweep like across a big frequency, you'll see some of those.
Yeah.
So like that 0, 0 will appear every time we have the resonance we spoke about. But like all those other ones, they're like to do with they're just other higher order modes of resonance.
Yeah.
So we would see the 0, 1 a lot, like the two boobs.
Yes, man.
And we'd have that often, but it's just another resonance. What was your question again?
Anyway.
Whatever. Yeah.
Frequency. So you change the frequency to get those shapes.
Yeah. It was a any particular frequency will produce them.
Yeah.
So
it's quite hard to get. You have to sweep it.
We're actually on the last phase of this. So we've just explained why the Hermite polynomials come up in our experiment. But we asked the question, why don't the Laguerre polynomials... So the Laguerre polynomials we see, but those aren't eigenvectors of the Fourier transform. So why are they there? So my theory is that it's a fact that the Laguerre-Gauss modes have with them angular momentum, rotational angular momentum of I times h bar. Okay?
You just
That's
quoting that.
That's the source that I've quoted. I read that and I was like, So
I mean, it is L.
Yeah.
So that should be angular momentum.
Yeah, like it. Yeah, it's to do with the photons. Like each photon has this.
It's P linear momentum.
But sorry.
It's P linear momentum.
Huh?
It's P. So you have L and P. L is angular. It's P linear.
Yeah.
It's P linear momentum.
I don't know. To be honest, no, it
does stand for that. I'm
well,
wondering if that what it means in that context.
I mean, I haven't used an L over P. It's just IH bar is the angular momentum.
Sure, but you're saying of the Laguerre-Gauss mode.
No. Sorry, yeah. Of the Laguerre-Gauss. Of the photons in a Laguerre-Gauss mode.
Yeah.
So how you demonstrate this is you have a little beam of, like a little fucking particle in your Hermite-Gauss beam, and it just stays there. You have your particle in your Laguerre-Gauss beam, and it fucking rotates, and it rotates. So you know, and it produces a torque, so you know it has angular momentum. Okay.
Sure.
So that's a fact. So whenever our Fourier transform is looking at a cavity and being like, frequency and time are the same. But the difference is that the Laguerre-Gauss modes have momentum. So that means the Fourier transform is not actually getting the full description of the Laguerre-Gauss mode. Because it has momentum, right? And Fourier transform only is concerned with frequency and time. So you're like, so at first, it's kind of like, it's not actually fully describing the system for the Laguerre-Gauss modes. So, introduce the extended Wigner transform, which converts. It's basically, it's like the Fourier transform, but instead of converting between time and frequency, it converts from space and momentum to space and spatial frequency.
Space and momentum.
So x and p, it converts from xp to x spatial frequency, basically, which is like eta or some shit.
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay, so the Fourier transform doesn't get the full picture, right? Because it has momentum. But this equation does feature momentum and is very similar to the Fourier transform.
Yes.
Basically.
Because you can measure momentum.
Yeah. So
You can
so
it, yeah.
so man.
How do you use that though?
So this is the crux. So this is the crux.
Go on.
You go it. Yeah.
Give me the crux.
So I'm just going to read my before here. The theory presented in the first paragraph of this section requires all modes to be eigenvalues of the Fourier transform. We assume that also to be true of the Laguerre-Gauss modes if they had no momentum. So if one could take away the momentum of the light inside the cavity, then the mode must collapse to Hermite-Gauss. This idea can be challenged by seeing what happens to a Hermite-Gauss mode when it is treated to have momentum by applying the Wigner transform. And the Wigner transform of the Hermite-Gauss modes are the Laguerre-Gauss modes.
Really? Ah. Is that true? That sounds really cool.
It's fucking mad.
That sounds cool. That sounds cool to me as well.
So it's just any method. Could I take any orbiting system and transform its momentum in a orbital way, such as because the Laguerre-Gauss mode is in a radial pattern, right?
Yeah.
Is that because the momentum is going around the central point like that, like angular momentum, or?
Yeah. I'm not really sure. I think what I suspect is the case with that is that the Wigner transform has determinate e to the I momentum dotted with spatial frequency. So because it's e to the I pi, that means in the complex plane it's going to be like a circle.
Sure.
So and remember our
so it isn't a circle radially.
Like
traveling in an orbit.
Yeah. The photons have intrinsic angular momentum. Every photon just has angular momentum in these modes.
Oh.
Something to do with them being spherically polarized or some weird shit.
Is it spinning or going
it's
around
intrinsic.
something?
It's like quantum.
But it has to be. Is it spinning? It must be spinning then.
The photon.
It comes from something like it.
The photon.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the mode?
But I mean, because you're saying the photon is spinning intrinsically. Generally, when you have intrinsic spin, that's like an electron spinning up or down.
It's quantum, man.
Do you not have the photon? You can't just say. You can't say it's quantum.
The photon is relativistic. Or is like sorry, is precisely the opposite. It is the speed of light.
But energy comes from somewhere.
So it's like.
So where is the spin?
It's like it's not. Sorry.
You're saying it has this intrinsic spin on the photon.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Man,
it has to be spinning.
It's intrinsic. It's the word intrinsic means that it has it by its nature.
Yeah, but when we say something like an electron, so that spins up or down, different energy levels. That's the definition of an intrinsic spin.
I don't know how these things work, but I know what intrinsic means.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying.
It has to come from somewhere.
Of course.
Energy comes from somewhere. You can't say it just has it.
Man, it is demonstrated to have intrinsic. Yeah. Do you want me to?
Intrinsic means that it has its vice nature, man. Like,
man, do you want me to literally look at the source
but the
right
nature
now?
can be explained. So I can explain that an electron is spinning.
Can it?
Well, it's not really. Yeah.
Can it be explained? Always.
I guess. I couldn't prove it right now, if I'm honest.
Right.
That's the easy scapegoat when I can just be like, I don't know, but some guy said it. Some guy said the Earth is round.
I read it somewhere.
I read the Earth is round, but I can't actually prove it.
Yeah.
So flat Earthers, GG, well played. And what shape do you think the Earth is?
I think it's a triangle.
I think it's a triangular cavity, and we are just the modes that exist walking around.
We have to be.
Well, not necessarily a triangular cavity, just
the
Fabry-Perloch cavity is the one we would be in.
Do you think a higher order mode is like a different dimension?
No.
So if I move onto like a Hermite like 2-2, I'm like on my own, just like in a small dimension of.
Yeah, we're in the other ones. We're in the other dimensions. It's like when you leave the room. It's like does anything exist outside this room? Like you don't really know what the answer to that question is, you know, and therefore you're a tiny little dot in this.
I'm gonna look out the window. One sec.
Oh man.
Fuck.
Oh man, it's early as fuck. Guess what? That's what I define early as fuck. No. The time is 3:42.
Quite early.
That's early. Early as fuck, actually.
Is that actually the time? Or is that what the man tells you what the time is? You can listen to a computer. You've been emasculated by a computer, mate.
Emasculated.
Define
emasculated?
Yeah.
Just all of your masculinity has been dissolved into nothing.
Ooh, masculinity. The buzzword.
That's what you're emasculated. When your hunky friend from school comes and steals your girl, the hunky guy just comes and steals Chico, and he cucks you, and you've been emasculated.
What does that
mean,
man?
Cuck when you fuck someone else's girlfriend, maybe that's cucking.
If you
So
watch,
who's cucking you?
I would be cucked.
If I fucked, I would be
Chico.
Fuck! If I cooked Chico, I would be.
If you fucked.
Sorry, if I fucked Chico, I would be cucking. So you do get it. Yeah.
Kasparov.
Fuck! I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that's clear enough.
No.
You can just edit Kasparov there.
Yeah.
If I fucked Chico, I would be cooking Kasparov. That would be cruel.
So yeah, but it would only be cucking if I was watching.
Is that so?
Yeah. Or if I watch a video of it, that would be cucking too. Like if I'm forced to wank to it, that would be extreme cucking.
Oh Jesus!
Cucking.
That's another level. I didn't even consider that.
And you'd be cucked.
But
scary.
there's sometimes I'm like excited to share this show with my fucking children. And there's times like this where I'm just like, fuck's sake. So
I mean, I'm sure there's worse times where it's like, hey, we're gonna do a quiz. If you get the question wrong, you have to take a 26,000 second reek until you pass out.
Man.
And it's like, oh, I want to show my kids this.
Yes, man. That's actually a show.
What do you mean show your kids this? You listen to your podcast.
What?
No offense.
What do you mean?
It's my
because you're saying it's not suitable for kids because we're like shouting shit about.
No, yeah, when I say my kids, I mean my like 30-year-old children.
Yeah, not 30-year-old.
Or some shit.
20
Oh
or
man,
some shit.
I don't know.
Okay, fair.
Stable job. I don't know. I don't really give a fuck. But not like young. Not young as fuck.
Not
like
ready for this. Yeah.
Yeah.
rolling the first
Not
time
even
when in
20,
the
I
crib.
think. Maybe 25 or some shit like that.
Yeah, just put it back on the radio. Once we're big.
Yeah. So I was getting a boner with Black Dog about the idea of fucking my dad would when I was young go through like physics problems. Like I remember distinctively one time he was like he tried to explain to me how energy levels, electrons are actually just energy levels, and it's like quantized basically. Just like telling me about that and drawing a diagram, and I was like, okay, cool. Like went off to play Ratchet and Clank or some shit. But I was like, man, if he came up to me like on my 21st birthday with like a fucking recording of that. Like watching yourself when you're young as fuck, like looking at like some shit with your dad. That'd be mad. So what we're gonna do is like take video recording of the child whenever like you're going through some physics with them and they're interested.
Yeah.
And then you fucking like give it to them like in the age of 20 and they'll be like, what the fuck? So I think I'm gonna do that. And then trying to tie in the podcast to that somehow. Get them on.
You'll know when they're ready.
Get it to be like a fucking.
Of getting people on podcasts.
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah.
Just introducing
No.
them.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'll start a fucking massive
army of guests on the spectrum and views.
No man, it's I'll show my children. I'll just have a dynasty of On the Spectrum, starting with me and all my children carrying it on. That means I'll get loads of views, but my viewership will be over hundreds of years. But maybe I'll hit 1,000 one day, even if it's like 20,
you have to
2,500.
Fuck's sake!
It's like an empire.
Yeah.
On the spectrum.
Like an empire through time.
On the spectrum, the Empire Strikes Back.
It's an empire through time, and therefore also an empire through frequency. And then you do a Wigner Transform. Anytime I can do that.
Yeah, you have so many opportunities to just shoehorn that into a conversation. We can just hang around the coffee lounge. It'll be good.
I'm looking forward to not looking at it for a while. Well, how's everyone feeling? Do you all get like an out of body experience when you do the podcast? Like,
no.
You feel like you're on it? I definitely do.
You feel like you're what?
I feel different a little bit. Like in a good way. I just feel like I listen to myself I listen to myself talk as like a listener because of the format, and then I'm actually listening to myself talk in like listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I find a thought process like has to be quite like you're careful. You're effortlessly careful with your words because of the context, I guess.
I totally agree. It's because you know someone's gonna hear this.
Yeah.
And you want it to make some sort of sense. Because when I explain things when we explain things which we might all know about, it's for the viewer. It's like if you might explain like who the cap is. It's like we know the cap is, but you explain it to the viewer. So you always think about the other audience.
I mean, explaining is a small part of it. I think though. It's more about reflecting
your image, yeah.
Reflecting upon like just in that way, it's not very different from like just chilling with friends.
I don't really think about it. Sometimes I don't think about it. Obviously, you can tell when I fucking shout all your names out. It's like
yeah, that is true.
I don't really.
That is true.
I forget.
Yeah, you forget what?
I can't just go with it.
Yeah,
I'm not really thinking loads about the podcast.
Yeah.
As it's going.
Me too, actually.
But I do consider it. I consider like not talking over each other.
Yeah,
as we do a lot in general.
I think we beat ourselves a lot about that. Like we aren't that bad. I think.
I don't realize you beat yourself up with it.
Huh?
Didn't realize you beat yourself up with it.
No, I think we do.
No, I did.
I don't.
I did specifically notice things such as that, like last year.
Yeah, last year. Maybe.
Not even last year, just like
months back.
Like a few months ago, like maybe before India.
Yeah.
Don't know. Or like during maybe.
Or maybe even before that, I would say like.
I don't think it's something that you gauge, and it takes time to like. Gauge a room.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think it's fine though.
But I think it's.
I haven't noticed it at all recently.
Yeah, me neither.
Sorry, I blanked out. Noticed what?
Just talking over each other.
The idea of just talking over each other when you're having like a group conversation.
Yeah.
It is like it does socially nice when everyone wants to like input a thought. But it's like when you have so many,
You
it's
have
always
to
just
have order.
it's always interjecting.
Yeah.
Before, like, anyone can get a word in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just the. Can I just say?
Yeah, the can I just say is like.
Can I just say?
That's just a necessary tool to get by in life.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Can I
It's
just
like,
say?
listen to me.
Yeah. Can I
You
just say?
slut. Can I just say?
Can I just?
Such a sneak fucking cheeky
Yeah.
fucking. It's like
Yeah, you
it's
slip-
like
you
it's like
slip one
shoving
in.
your dick in the asshole
You
while
can't
a guy's
deny.
fucking
You
someone.
can't deny it. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I just say?
That visualization. I don't know why I visualized that, but
So-
it made sense.
So you say it as you slip in. It's a hell of a pickup line.
Yes, man. I'm gonna employ this. Can I just say?
That'll probably work at some like dirty like homosexual rave.
If Shaman
Work.
used that, can I just say? What the fuck?
But it's too late. I don't know why he sounds like.
Do you want to fuck? Hey!
I can't really do a Canadian. It's just like a kind of like typical like American. I still can't do that right now.
Yeah, it's a bit more gay.
Just one gay. Jesus.
Why you
Well,
say gay like that, man?
Yeah, we don't condone homophobia on the
Fucking
podcast.
GC parade. Knocking on the
Okay.
Spectrum's door.
Knocking on Spectrum's door. Whoa.
That's wrong. The night was such a fucking amazing night. Gina is fucking such an amazing group, man. It just baffles me that all of that was basically made by him.
Yeah. Could we cut a few onions? Like,
Hey, I
I mean, we chopped shit.
Yeah,
like,
we chopped-
didn't fucking.
I'm
Fuck you.
I fried onions with my.
To be fair, you did fry onions for a while.
Wasn't that hard though?
Fair.
I'd leave them in and finish like,
Yeah, you
oh, is that ready? I'm
you
like,
fucking
yeah,
you put
probably.
you fucking put some onions in.
He's like, oh, it's been 8 minutes. I'm like, yeah, sure. I get it.
Everything was spot on, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's true. There was no fuck ups. Man, what the fuck? There was no fuck ups. That's actually.
I haven't
I
had the
almost
dessert
spilled the
yet.
gravy everywhere. Like, I
Oh,
knocked it.
Yes,
and, like,
man.
almost dropped something and then almost spilled the gravy on myself.
Oh my god.
So I could have fucked it. That was when it was, like, nice and full.
We haven't had the dessert yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should have something, please, yes.
Mm.
And eat it while we.
That's a very good show.
Yeah, boy. No labs.
And you know.
Dude.
You know it.
CS, man. Oh, fuck. Tonight I'm gonna fulfill the CS. This is like a fucking just guilt-free.
What do you get? Well,
Also, I haven't had
we played
proper.
one last night, the night before report.
Yeah.
But I guess it is. It's
Yeah, no, that's true.
I was so
I'd
chill.
say that
I
I'd
was so
say
chill playing last night.
Yeah. I guess it's true. Like I say,
I guess it's just the guilt-free CS.
I was like, I'm gonna be
Which is
until
more
like
pleasure.
7.
Yeah.
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 Like
True.
I
Just like
like
it.
Yeah, you
the,
can-
so the fact that I won't be missing any lectures anymore because the term is over, not because I'll be attending them, is the guilt-free CS.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no person to tell you what to do, essentially.
Yeah, man. For at least a
Well.
week.
Independent study. Fuck yes.
Rest in peace. Fucking study club. That's
Yeah, man. It's been a good study club.
been fucking
Study club has been properly so good.
yes, man.
So fun working with you guys. So some people
I
fucking.
wish you had the
some
bigger room now, to be honest.
Huh?
I wish you had, because you have a desktop. That's why we would come to your room to study, because you need the desktop, essentially.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason. Your room is nice.
That was actually
it is cozy.
Yeah.
But if you had a bigger room, then you would have a fat like you could have like a fat sofa and a drum kit. 2 swap
Yeah.
rooms.
There's only one desk, and like working on the bed.
Yeah.
See, I just require. See, I also would usually write notes. Like that's my obviously majority of writing, of work. So
True.
like,
Yes, man.
just
Yeah,
needing a
you can
surface.
use your phone
I'm
as well
just
now.
so used to have a desk that when
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like sitting
same.
down to write notes as I
I
do
can't-
every day. Oh wait, I'm
I
not
can't
at a
do laptop
fucking
stuff.
desk.
Yeah, man.
Like, what the fuck's going on?
So, like, that night you tried working on your phone.
Yeah,
How'd that work for
It
you?
was decent. Yeah, I do enjoy this fucking nice fat phone screen.
Yeah, man.
Get some fucking.
Which
I
is
did
what
phone screen
I
as
could
well.
do Maz notes on it, no problem. And the Maz
Okay.
notes are by far the hardest. Like, because it's just like equations and it's like, kind of easy to lose yours. So like, and that was no problem.
Nice.
So yeah,
Nice.
it's good shit. I'm very glad. And PDFs as well on my phone. Fuck me. Why do
Get a
that all
laptop.
day? Man,
That
actually,
sounds like an absolute pure pain to read off of a phone.
I would say get an
Why did you
iPad
do
or
this?
something.
no fucking way am I getting an iPad.
Why
yeah,
not? Explain your reasons.
Because I like working. What?
Explain your reasons.
Why would an iPad be good?
Because then you
Because
could
it's
have notes
portable.
on you.
It's portable.
That's portable and it works.
No,
But-
but it's like
but a
it's
big
like
screen.
a laptop. It's like a laptop.
But I have to prop it up. See, the thing is, I would like a laptop.
Why?
Uh,
What for?
for writing,
So why not
For
get an
writing.
iPad,
for typing,
which is cheaper?
for typing.
Yeah,
as
but
well.
typing on an iPad is
Yeah.
pretty annoying.
That's pretty
You
fucking
can agree a
shit.
touch screen.
Get a keyboard with it.
Keyboard with an iPad. I'm gonna get a laptop.
Fair,
So-
yeah, you could.
Man, like
The only
that
reason
just seems unnecessary. But I
No.
guess what you're
I
saying
think
isn't
Apple.
wrong.
I think spending money on Apple products is an absolute waste of money.
isn't
I think it is.
yeah. I mean a tablet, not necessarily an iPad.
Yeah, I would just get a
Apple. I've never bought an app myself.
It's just so much more money than you
Yeah,
could just get
of
like
course.
a little shitty notebook.
Of course not.
not using iOS. Fuck that. Fucking
Your fucking Apple Watch.
yeah.
You had Apple
Not connected
phones.
to anything.
You
It is
had
nice
phones for
though.
like-
It is nice in
for
its own
3
way.
years now.
Huh?
You had fucking iPhone for 3 years now.
Yeah, some shit.
Are you glad you moved on?
Yeah, I am. Fucking
Rip Chico.
what the fuck were you just saying, please?
reading on your phone notes.
Yeah, man. So
Yeah, thank you.
next year, so if I do a PhD,
Yeah.
you can. There's I think there's actually a pretty decent amount of funding for it.
Okay.
I think. Man, I'm gonna quote it and I'm gonna fact check it, but I think it's £16,000 if you get if they get the funding, and it costs 4,000. So you're getting 12,000 a year for free. I think something mad.
Damn. That's a fucking
Suspicious number. Is
Yeah.
that a suspicious number?
suspicious.
But I think then I'd buy a laptop because I would just love to sit and work
Yeah.
over here as well. Change of scenery is nice as fuck.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It could be just really shit though. I might just literally get like something for £400 if like that came by easy. You know, just
get you a decent laptop, I think.
yeah. Second hand something cheaper than that.
Why second hand?
Just because I'm only gonna be typing on it. I'm not gonna be doing any like.
Sure, yeah.
If
Why
you can, I
don't
would
get a second hand laptop, man. Do not do
Well,
that.
I'm not planning. Like this isn't in my plans.
But like, just giving you a fucking
Yeah, I agree.
suggestion.
So
Do not do that. Like, have you seen my laptop?
They're bought to last.
No.
yeah.
Like, it's a very good laptop. It's got high specs and everything. The screen is fucked though. It's like I got that in 2015, 14.
To be fair, I was looking to buy second-hand Macs. I was totally ready to buy one in summer, for like £500 for something worth like way more. It's like
Someone did. Someone I
a
know did.
MacBook.
I feel.
It's, yeah, I'd imagine they would with Macs because they're fucking like the ones you get today. Even the refurbished ones, it's like over £1,000 sometimes for like the nice ones.
See, I was considering getting Mac. My dad was like, "Next laptop you get a Mac." I was thinking of getting Windows on it straight away.
See, what's the
can't be
fucking point
asked.
then?
Huh?
Then what's the fucking point?
point is the laptop's hardware and its specs, its speed, its software.
Chinese laptop, my friend.
You devil's advocate. It's just like I do understand like the build quality is something which is way different. It's much more reliable than.
I guess,
in
but
general,
like, tell me this:
PCs.
if I use Windows on it, does that decrease its performance? Or does
I
that?
don't know.
I say it would, man. The hardware, the thing with Apple.
I think the software is also a part of maybe how secure it is. I don't know much about it, to be honest.
Man, I think a great benefit to Apple is that the iOS, they build both the hardware and the software, so they're designed with each other in mind, and that's why you fucking get such a nice, like, easy experience with an iPhone. But you have like one of the biggest advantages instantly just taken away if you do that.
Yeah.
Android's always slow down to shit. Like I've had them slow down.
Android.
Yeah, I've had many Androids in my life.
Fair.
They just like slow down a lot.
So do Apple, man. Like all phones
I've never had an Apple phone though. I've always experienced them to be just pure like smooth swipes.
Man, it was what fucking Apple said it themselves, accepted it once that they purposely decrease the fucking performance of the phones as they go by through updates. Something like that. Like,
oh yeah, you might be right.
So
yeah,
they do that. Everyone does that, but like, I mean,
it forces you to update it, doesn't it?
The phone that I have is fucking. I think it's really good. It's not bothered me up till now, apart from the fucking volume button. And it's like a Chinese company. It's called OnePlus, but it's a decent company.
So they don't just try and milk you dry. Oh, that's nice.
No, it's not fucking really expensive. Like, I think it's definitely competing with Samsung and other Androids. Yeah, like so many people are buying them now. Fucking
Ninja as well.
Yeah, as well, I think.
You need to say it. You need to say it after a decent pause. There's no point just saying it straight after I say it.
So that Sony there, yeah. Tell us about that Black Dog.
What?
Oh, that Sony there. You talking about Sony phones, were you?
No, Leah. OnePlus phones.
Oh, OnePlus phones, you say?
Yeah.
Well,
OnePlus phones.
Well, what OnePlus phones do you have, Black Dog?
Yes, I have OnePlus phones.
Oh, do you have a friend who has a Black Dog? I mean, a OnePlus.
I have one.
Is it Ninja?
Ninja has OnePlus.
Ninja has one. Fuck.
Harry, fuck you.
Igor.
This is too cringy.
This is too cringy.
I'm game to end it.
Sure.
It's 2 hours. I think that was really good. The best is behind us.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Unless you.
I've been.
One thing I was gonna say though is, do you want to play the game where you have questions, and you need to do the 7-second toke and 9-second hold? Yeah. I know. Fair. Sorry, it's like Joe offer, and if people are up for
go on, why not?
Sure.
I need to think of a question.
We don't have any.
So
do I think of a question or a random person?
Think of a question that both of us might know the answer to.
Both of you, okay.
If you want to make it personal about yourself, then that's also a good one, because it tests how much we both know about you.
Sure.
So that's another like nice path to go down. A question about yourself. For instance, what's my favourite? And then so I'm gonna fill this up. Everyone think of a question, and I'll pause it.
I know a question. Such a gay game.
Yeah, what these feelings? You're like, oh, what's my favourite animal? Do you know my favourite animal? Black Dog.
I don't.
Oh, you don't? You're not my friend.
Oh,
fuck off.
Oh no.
Get out of here. Can't believe you.
You should have seen
the friendship test has failed on you.
You should have seen my true side, dude. I'm just using you.
Oh, you sociopath. I need to think of a question. Kasparov's gonna get back soon. How am I gonna have one? He's gonna be mad. No. I need to think of one. Quick, help me out, man. Help me.
No, Kasparov's gonna fuck you.
Kasparov takes his podcast way too seriously, guys. If we don't have a question ready, he'll just You don't want to know what he does.
He's gonna wreck us after the podcast.
Wreck us, jolly. Black Dog. You don't even understand.
I'm complicit.
So he's another kind of person when you don't remember. I guess, bro. I haven't got a question yet.
I've got a fucking great question.
I've got a question. That's not necessarily a great question. Go on. What's your question, Dan? Kasparov.
So the rules are, if you get a question wrong, you have to do a 7-second toke and a 9-second inhale.
Sure.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna ask a question. Whoever's closer to the answer
It's not first.
doesn't have to
not.
do it.
Is it first person or not?
No. Whoever's closer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you say
And
who says first?
Both
though?
can not.
You have to say. Oh, you have to say it at the same time as well.
Nah.
Yeah, no, you
nah.
do. Just so you can't gauge off each other's and play the prices right. If you get me.
I guess, yeah.
So say it at the same time. I'll give you some time to think.
Sure.
How many bandmates have I had?
Okay, give me a second.
Okay.
Including the ones you have right now.
All the bandmates I've had.
That's a fucking. Okay, I'm not getting that.
Whoever's closer. So.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna actually need to count myself.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna ask you.
I'm gonna get it right.
So I don't know if you had any before coming outside, but I guess no. I think because of your first time.
Yeah. Sleeping outside has had many names.
You had a motor. Yeah.
Man,
Who are the OG? I really don't want to fuck this up. I think I know it.
So, they had different bassists.
Well, you can think of your own answer.
Yeah.
You need to help me out. I know that. That's easy shit.
I'm just gonna fucking trap you into confusing you something. I'm just gonna come up with something. Did they have 2 bassists?
They had about 16 bassists at least. They had the Birmingham Symphony Orchestra at their side. So it was about 26 bandmates. And you've also got all the trumpets. That was like another 20.
Yes, man. You're right.
And then you've got his reggae band.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I really want to put. Oh no, how far can I put it?
Okay.
I think I thought of a number.
I think I've got one. I think one, two.
I'm gonna go with.
No, we have to say it at the same time. Because then he could just say like one bigger than yours, you know.
I'm ready.
Right? On go.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
9.
12. 9, 12. The answer is 10.
Fuck! I was gonna say 10 first.
So you said 9.
Yeah, you have a new 4 members. You got a new guitarist.
Yeah.
Then a new bassist.
Yeah.
And then you have us.
Did you count fucking all known laws?
No.
See, I counted them.
Oh fuck. Oh man, no, they count.
Do they have to?
That
still means he knows.
It's a basic page.
It still means he knows though.
Man,
He knew He knew your history.
Man, fuck me.
That's
Actually,
the
you know, I'm
test.
gonna take that. I think that's fair.
Go through them.
Okay, so you have X. Yeah. So Black Dog.
13.
Black Dog knew more than me, so you're gonna have to do 7
seconds.
7 second toke, 9 second inhale.
Maybe that inspired me for a question.
So that's the thing.
Enjoy.
You might have to do this twice.
Oh my god. Hell yes. I mean, not hell yes.
So we're gonna do this.
Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do 7 second reeks. Don't.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this right now. By the way.
Fair man.
So yeah.
Oh, you're getting the timer out.
Yep.
This is serious.
Yes.
Okay.
You
7
don't fuck
seconds.
around.
Okay. Man, it's actually.
This is my virgin this is my second full podcast actually.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think.
First one doing weird peer pressure games like this. Let's go.
So start choking whenever you want. like click your fingers when you're starting to choke, please. Here's the water handy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Clear those lungs. Good man.
Here's a lighter if you need it.
Click. Stop. Oh, hold. Just wait my turn. Enough. Man. You took that quite well.
Yes. Like
Right.
fucking rock.
Your question.
What's my favorite acoustic guitar company?
What's your what?
Favorite acoustic guitar company? What's the acoustic guitar that I was
think,
like,
I think I know.
what's the
I
acoustic
think I know
guitar I was
too.
like, you guys fucking pitch in £10 to get it.
I think I know the. I think I know the guitar, but I don't know the band.
I'm not too sure. Pitching £10.
Remember that time when we went to PMT?
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys, every time, every
you,
birthday.
I kind of remember. I don't remember the brand. Was it the really nice one? No, no, it wasn't. Was it the super nice one, like in the corner? It was like
yeah, the super nice one which I was playing.
There's one which was like on its own pedestal. It wasn't that one.
No, I mean they're the same company. That whole place, that whole square was the same company.
Hmm. Oh, I don't think I know.
Or Martin.
Oh, I thought it was Nord.
Well,
Martin.
neither of us got that.
Fuck you guys. Fuck yous.
I should have known that.
Yeah, but like it's a difficult question, I guess.
I was going to say
Not everyone knows.
I was going to say we're not guitar players.
Yeah. Well, then Kasparov then realized.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that fucking excuse anymore.
I nearly asked him to a grinder there.
Please do.
So Igor.
Question. Igor.
Oh, I was just struggling to think of one.
I've got a question.
Sorry.
What are your A-level results?
What
What are your GCSE? He doesn't know what the fuck GCSEs are.
Hey, I know what
that's really
GCSEs
shit.
are.
That's a really shit.
Bliat.
Fucking whatever.
Yeah, that's a very shit question.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Fuck yourself. You consider yourself
Sorry,
a post
I'm.
Kasparov.
I do apologize. I'm not
Oh,
thinking
fucking-
well.
Hey, man, it's not easy. Don't go nuts on that. It's save it.
I'm trying to think of one like personal.
I'm thirsty.
I don't know.
There's
Oh
water
fuck yeah, please. Thank you. No idea.
Are you hydrated? We were talking about how Lucozade is like so full of fucking sugar, and so it's gonna be necessary for the fight game of CS tonight, boy. Oh man, fuck. I'm actually just so happy.
This what of CS.
End of fucking time.
It just feels
I'm like,
so
man,
weird.
fuck me.
Oh, it doesn't feel
I'm
weird.
getting quite a delayed reaction from it, kind of. It's like, I am kind of behaving the exact same way as in, I'm speaking in my room, basically.
I'm not really getting a delayed reaction. I mean, it is today, that is the end of term.
Yeah.
How is that delayed reaction then? Spot on, mate. Fucking Liam.
Do you wanna open your mouth?
Something like that being in your face that just paralyzes the man. It's like it's some human reflex. I'm not scared of a bottle squirting water.
Yeah, I'm not scared of the water.
It's just
either.
like there's something. I don't know what's going on.
Fucking brain.
Oh my god. Let me just credit it, please.
Do it.
I was so tempted to squirt at it when you were laughing.
I'll take it. Give me some.
You would have been like choking like.
Oh yes.
Woo!
Nice. Oh, it's so nice and cold. Oh, hey,
It was fun.
that went really
It
well.
was like the most exercise I've had in ages. Cam said
You had to
something.
say it.
Fucking nearly said something today over dinner while I was drinking wine, and it fucking went straight up my nose. And I just finished all the slur. And I was like, fuck. It was painful.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. So are we gonna get any more questions or not? It's fair.
I don't know.
This kind of fucking like dumb question, like.
What's
No,
the
no.
GCSE?
I've not been thinking about it.
Of course. No. Do I just wrap up high?
Sure.
Or
Yeah.
I don't have anything to say. Has anything interesting happened? I guess we always spend so much time.
Fucking
No
Rob,
idea.
fucking monkey butlers happened on
Yeah,
Kill
seeing the
TV.
monkey butlers was a hell of an experience. Seeing them live was a hell of an experience.
Yeah. Seeing him live was a hell of an experience.
So unassuming. He's like
Freddie.
fucking Freddie Mercury on stage. Like so flamboyant.
Yeah, man.
I love it.
He said that in the Kill TV
Yeah,
performance right there.
it really fits him.
Then a lot about theatrics, like Queen.
Actually,
fucking yeah. That's the first thing that came to me when I saw him, man.
I was partly considering seeing him in Legally Blonde. I'm sure he would have been fucking class. So that'd be really nice.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah,
When is it?
No, it's happened.
It's already been.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, I remember him posting it. I felt that. They had it again. But yeah. This is a pretty good podcast. On a pretty good night.
Yeah, it's been a good day. It's been a good day.
It's been a good day. It was a long day.
Yeah, man.
Your day.
But when did
only
my
began,
yeah? But
a few hours ago.
when did my day start? Is the question.
Oh really?
That is actually the question. Like the day. Is my day like? It was like this time last night.
Leave my
I
day.
don't remember.
What your day is whenever you wake up, you mean? Or
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, I woke up. I would consider this 4-hour nap. It would 4 hour sleep nap. That was a nap.
true.
See, I woke up at like 6 o'clock.
You seem to
Yesterday.
sleep then. All you do is nap.
Yeah. I fucking like I don't know. Like this was after like 2 days that I napped and didn't sleep.
Yeah.
But like the last week before mooting, during the mooting week, I remember 2 days when I just napped for 2 hours. And worked. Yeah. That was quite mad.
We've got the study club
The study club.
to make it.
Yes, man.
This man, I'm definitely gonna get Playat in on it.
That'll be fun.
Club.
I've met him once, I think.
Yeah.
Just like, well, probably I've got
There have been plenty of times where I'm like, I'm gonna I want to play CS or something.
Yeah.
And then Neely comes up to me and he's like, "Do you want to work?" And I'm like actually, although I would rather play CS, I guess if I'm alone, I guess if I'm with someone,
Yeah.
then I'm down to work. And I was. And I worked.
When was this?
And it was good. A few days ago.
Yeah,
But
man,
you-
I completely understand what you've been saying. Like, I don't know, it's the same with me, but like, working with people seems to work for me for some reason. Like, I don't know.
It can be more, depending who you're around, it's just more distracting in some cases.
I agree.
Yeah.
Fucking Gina is very distracting.
If I'm sat with Gina, like, doing a study sesh, sometimes we're just like sort of chatting
He-
about some shit.
He'll be like talking about, he'll put on a song, and then I'll be like, oh man, that's a good song, who's it by? And then he'll be like, oh man, this band. And then he'll Google search them.
Yeah.
Oh man, this song is from this album. Oh, they were nominated for Grammys. Oh, this
Yeah, man.
actually happened once.
And that's
Yeah.
the thing. That's the thing. I think he does get quite
It's
distracted.
so funny.
He'll be
I
like,
mean, it's fair.
"This is a good song," as you said. Then he'll be like, "Yeah," and then 20 seconds will go by, and then you'll be like,
Yeah,
it's working, and then
yeah.
you'll be like, reading you something from Google. You're like,
That's
the
what
fuck?
It's like the study club just becomes. We'll
No,
just like chat and chill.
He gets
essentially.
distracted. He gets distracted quite quickly.
Man, the thing
I mean,
is,
it's quite easy.
Yeah.
It's like you just chilling with people.
man, the thing is, the study club, I think why it's so good is because it makes you kind of forget about the concept of taking a break. Like, study club lasts for fucking hours, man.
Yes, man.
Like, hours. Like, every time,
Hours.
fucking, it's like
mad.
6-7 hours.
And I think
Yeah, sometimes it's not
been-
that. I don't find it that easy to concentrate in some situations.
Fair.
I probably like. It depends who you're with. I don't know.
I think it fucking started
What
when.
mindset I'm in.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, the way I see it, I think it started when we were working on some shit, which was important, and we were just smoking up alongside. And we just started doing that, like, consecutively over a couple of nights. And then it just fucking exploded into a study sesh. And then, yeah, it became a thing.
Yeah, true. And then you see a joint go around.
Yes.
It's like, I'm in a study club, but
All
they're
just
still
out of-
smoking and somehow still working.
Yes.
And like,
Exactly.
It's like,
Just
it's like there's
I'm
a, it's
genuinely amazed.
It's like there's a peer pressure to get lost in your notes. I find like I'll look at behind me. I'll turn around and then I'll look at Black Dog, and then I'll look at him and he won't even. And he's like he's not looking back. He's looking at his screen,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah,
Like-
that happens with me as well when I'm looking at you sometimes. Like, I think it's just because obviously you can't have constant attention towards your work. You do have like lapses, if you want to call that.
Hmm.
You just go like, just look around, take a deep breath, and looks around. So, I mean, but like on an average, we'd all, I think, at least, I mean, Gina is as well. I think he does a decent amount of work in study sesh. I just feel that everyone just gets engrossed. This, as you put it very succinctly and perfectly, that you're forced to be engrossed in your work, basically, which is, I think, true to some extent.
I think it's if you see someone else doing it, it's like
Yeah, you just go
it's
like,
sort of seeing
I should be doing that as
how
well.
focused you can be.
So you do
Yes.
do that as well.
Sure.
So yeah, that's pretty good, I think. But for me, I think it just works because it just doesn't give me the opportunity of just standing up and playing my guitar or playing FIFA or just having a wank and not studying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Actually, now that you mention it, guitar is actually a big one for me.
Yeah.
Because I'll come home after lecture and I'll play guitar and I'll look like at the computer screen and I'll be like 10 minutes just passed. And
yeah,
it's like,
time passes
what?
so fast.
10 minutes passed.
Yeah.
And I can definitely fucking go
Time
longer than
passes
that.
so fast, man. 10 minutes is fucking nothing.
Yeah. But it was fucking in the blink of this one particular time and I was like, that's when I realized like how fucking much time you just spend.
You don't
Just like
feel
fiddling,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just like
Just
fucking
playing,
around.
yeah.
And if you fucking start writing something like and literally everything disappears
Yeah.
except for what you're playing to your mind and you just like
if you're writing, then you'll be hours in and you'll find yourself an hour later. Like, fuck, okay.
yeah. But obviously in the study club we don't all be like Nearly and just play fucking guitar, so I don't, which is like ultimately a good thing.
Yeah.
But I know that mentioned actually.
Yeah.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I haven't put it to videos gone.
Like sometimes we do play guitar, but like not all the fucking time. And like there's also this thing fucking I have to fucking mention is that there's always this one thing in your mind that you may be disturbing someone else by doing some shit, so you shouldn't be doing it. Which makes you not good.
I don't know.
And it makes you hesitant to do it.
If I really want to focus, I would just stick on headphones. If people are distracting me.
Yeah.
So like, if you come to study club, people are gonna talk.
Nah,
It's the nature of it.
Man,
Like
that's not necessary.
in some cases. Like
if
it's talking about work even, that might distract you. Say if I'm talking about like our cup of tea, you're like, oh that's distracting me, because it's too noisy or whatever.
But the fact is that doesn't happen. Like if you the
But
duration
it
that
will
we're in,
happen.
the duration that we're talking about is hours and like 8 hours at least we're talking. And
Yeah.
like in that fucking 1 minute conversation is fine because, as I said earlier, you don't yourself have 100% concentration at all times. But say you bring something up and you know that's not going to last for more than a minute, you might as well go like, you know what, I'll just listen to this, or like not pay attention for a minute,
Yeah.
and then get back to it. So
Like if someone just says out of total silence for 10 minutes,
yeah,
bleat, then you know like that you kind of have an idea.
yeah,
It's kind of interesting from the tone of the voice what exactly is going on.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you're not totally focused, you're like, what?
yeah,
And then you're like, well, and then you just get back.
yeah,
Like it's kind of it's not intense. Like,
yeah. It's not intense.
at all.
It's not intense. Yeah. And yeah, Gina can be fucking bad at times, but like he's not unbearable. Yeah.
You just fucking snore, Black Dog.
Huh?
You're chatting shit, but you're the one who just like falls asleep and just snores the whole
Hey,
time.
I was laughing.
We were trying to record guitar today, and he started snoring.
How bad?
Just a little bit, but it was a quite sensitive mic.
What?
The mic was so sensitive that you'll notice that my guitar, you know, the fucking pick guard,
Yeah.
had like the plastic of it.
Yeah.
My fingers would like touch the plastic and like crinkle, so I took it off.
Yeah, nice. Finally.
Mom, we should get the master to put that on.
Well,
Joel is snoring in the background. That's all.
yeah, man.
Was I sleeping on my back?
No.
First, when I had.
You moved, and I was like, move, yeah.
Did I move?
Yeah.
And then I stopped snoring.
Yeah.
Move.
I'm gonna kick you out, but I was like,
Oh, thank you.
that's like, I want to energetic when I fuck him in the ass tonight.
Nice one.
Right. On that note, yeah, let's jump into a fucking server.
See you
I
in the
wanna
next
get some-
edition of On the Spectrum.
That caramel cake.
Oh fuck yeah!
Oh
man.
yes, man. Let's
Good
have
shout.
that fucking cake.
Yes, man. That was my shout. Hey.
Hey, that was my show.
No, that was
Hey,
my shout.
that was my
That was an
shout.
individual thought.
Hey, you
Well,
can go back and listen to it. This is my show.
No.
Like, we also have the cake.
see ya.